So I finally checked out Ghosted, and it sure was something. The new, shockingly not actually shocking at all, hit comedy starring Chris Evans and Ana de Armas. And that's exactly why it's not surprising that it's been a hit. A rom-com starring two of the biggest mainstream actors working today that's getting heavily marketed across all social media, that you can watch from the comfort of your own home. Yeah, it's probably gonna get some clicks. And while it is starting to level out on the review front, it is still very heavily weighted in terms of like audience liking it versus critics liking it. And look, I know people say that you can't trust critic reviews, that critics are all shitty, especially on Rotten Tomatoes. But guess what, pals? I'm on Rotten Tomatoes. While it is fair that critics just don't like some movies that have a lot of wide appeal, audiences are equally as fucking stupid sometimes. The number of reviews I've seen for different movies where someone just talks about how it's not great, it's not perfect, it could have been better, but at least it wasn't trash, and then they give it a 5-star review, too high. The number is too high. But this is the type of movie that if done well, I would have enjoyed, but it wasn't done that well, so it was, average to not great. So, take that for what you will. It is terribly paced and quite bland at times. Honestly, the more I think about it, the last 40-ish minutes of this movie are like quite bad and annoying to watch. But it has moments, and I'm sure that there's way worse ways to spend a couple hours. But instead of watching this, I would recommend watching Rye Lane, which should be streaming right now on Hulu and Disney Plus and other areas. It's just a really great movie that technically falls in the rom-com area, but it almost feels like insulting to call it a rom-com because it just comes across as like so much more in ways. It's so simple but effective and how it does its thing. So that's Rye Lane. I would definitely recommend checking it out. But with Ghosted, I'm starting to wonder what devil deal some of these people made to keep ending up in these weird, big cast, lazy story straight to streaming movies. Like if this movie was on Disney Plus or Hulu, I would genuinely wonder if this was some kind of like hidden deal worked into a Marvel contract. Because originally Chris Evans was supposed to be acting opposite Scarlett Johansson in this movie. On top of all the actor crossover, 2 of the writers are heavily involved in Marvel projects, and now technically all 4 of the credited writers are involved now that you consider Deadpool 3 being under the Marvel Disney umbrella. So there is some creative crossover outside of the actors. But speaking of the writing, that is where Ghosted really fails in my opinion. It's such a frustrating experience of a movie because a lot of the parts really work. You've got funny moments, charming actors, solid action sequences, fun set pieces and stunts, and then it just shits the same bed over and over and over again. These movies often feel like the worst to me because they're not terrible, but they just feel like lazy cash grabs because yeah, that's exactly what it is. It feels like you fed a bot a bunch of mediocre action rom-coms with popular, attractive leads, and it spit out this movie, and only Scarlett Johansson was smart enough to get out. And with the very real writer strike going on right now, we might actually see studios turn to this stuff and just get a bunch of these soulless movies, but worse. As mentioned, the movie just has no idea how to pace itself. It is just constantly swiping back and forth between way too slow moments before diving right back into full action, to the point that by the end, the action sequences that were really good up until this point start losing a lot of their charm. A lot of what's happening and what's driving that background plot along is just like not satisfying. And even though that grander plot is really just supposed to be the backdrop to push together their character romantic dynamic along, that even starts suffering a bunch because of the shit pacing and honestly the bad dialogue at times. And this movie is almost 2 hours long for absolutely no reason, but there is no incentive to tighten it up because it's streaming. The challenge isn't to make something good enough to make people sit in theaters for however long you want to make your movie and then keep people coming back week after week. You're just trying to get people to click on a movie in a streaming app. If they watch for 20 to 30 minutes and then click off, that still counts as a view for you. But they also know that outside that, even if someone isn't loving the movie, they'll probably just let it play out while they browse TikTok. And that's not to say that people won't genuinely enjoy this movie. A lot of people do, which is great for them. It's Apple TV's most successful movie to date, apparently, in terms of views. And honestly, I had no idea what to expect going into this movie other than knowing that it had stunts and the poster making it look like an action movie. But the premise is that bumblefuck farmer Evans here goes on a date with Ana de Armas and ends up swept into her life as a spy. And spies seem pretty cool. Who wouldn't want to get down on some espionage and heist action? Well, thanks to today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN, you can feel like a spy from the comfort of your own home by encrypting your personal data and changing the location your internet thinks you're in. That was smooth, right? Some might even say it was smooth like the ease of connecting to one of Surfshark's thousands of different server locations. Nailed it! So once again, I found myself traveling, and because I do it so much, I always have a bunch of shows and movies downloaded on my iPad to watch during flights. But I played myself this last trip. I forgot that when you leave downloads alone for too long in streaming apps, they expire. So I was being held back from watching The Watchmen show because I couldn't renew my downloads on Crave outside of Canada. But thanks to Surfshark VPN, all I had to do was connect to a Toronto server location and boom, it let me renew them on the go. I'm constantly using Surfshark to access region-locked content, whether at home or on the go, and you can too. It's super fast, secure, blocks unwanted ads, and they offer a 30-day back money guarantee if you're not completely satisfied. So make sure to click the link in the description to try out Surfshark for yourself and use code JEDI to get an additional 3 months free. So let's dive into the movie. I get the vibe of wanting this to feel like a Hallmark movie gone awry, but it takes about 30 minutes before any action starts. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We start with Sadie, and she's kind of dealing with some issues brought up by a coworker dying, which is just kind of making her think about her life was similar and how empty it is. Which is when she runs into Cole. Farmer's market man clearly has a tendency to misplace things because he apparently puts trackers in all of his belongings.
You lose your butt if it wasn't attached to you.
Well, you lost your hair and that was attached.
See, okay, that's funny. And he's apparently going through a big breakup. He's a clingy dude, which is when Ana de Armas conveniently shows up looking to buy a plant to make her apartment feel less dead and cold. And they're off to a good flirty start. A little bit of cringe, but hey, we got a good rapport going. Until she basically says she's not going to be around enough to properly take care of the flower, and he won't in good conscience sell it to her. Which is fair, honestly. Like, don't buy a living thing that's just gonna die, and like, if she wants to make it so that her place is less depressing, it's gonna be pretty depressing if she comes back from work and the flower's just dead. You know, I'm just saying.
Hey, want a plant? Here, cactus. Requires the bare minimum love a human can give, so you'll totally kill it.
Ouch, dude, there goes any flirty banter goodwill. But then this girl is like, no, that was like flirty. Go ask her out. And it wasn't flirting at all. It was genuinely quite insulting, but the audacity is charming to her, so she gives him a chance and agrees to grab coffee. And she whoops his ass in a nice little running competition that I have no idea why he suggested because he has asthma. Aw, he put his inhaler in mommy's purse. I get that, like, oh, she's mommy. Mommy is like a thing right now, but not like this. Not like an actual mom. And I am now totally understanding why people were questioning whether or not Anna and Chris were ever in the same room together, but I just feel like it's because they're filming all of this on fake backgrounds because they're not anywhere near these destinations. And it's cute, it's a nice date. I get why they're setting it up that this is just like an instant connection because coffee turns to drinks and karaoke and being up all night, then a good chunk of the next day, if you know what I mean. They fuck.
Wow.
First farmer.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You know, like they have farmers only if you want to pull those cards.
You know that power you felt? That's from the land.
What does that mean? Anyway, he's back at home with the whole family he still lives with, and he's instantly telling them all that he thinks she might be the one when his sister noticed that he took a creeper sleeper selfie.
You took a selfie in bed while she was asleep.
Like, that's something you can get away with in a relationship, but like not on a first date. Also, realize that his dad is Tate Donovan, aka Jimmy Cooper from the OC, which I love. But as one could infer from said photo and already thinking that she's the one, he's got a tendency of getting overly attached to women very quickly, and then he's so needy that they feel smothered and leave him. But don't worry, he's off to a great start with her. In the time that it's taken him to get home, he's only sent her 3 text messages. And some additional emoji stuff. Oh no, my guy. So she doesn't end up texting back, and he just tries to keep texting so that we see that he's left this obnoxious wall of text that would have found their way onto Reddit r/sadcringe. Like, look at some of this. We should pick a time to watch The Exorcist. What are you up to tonight? Maybe tonight's too fast, haha, or too soon, as they say, haha. Like, this is literally all immediately after he left her place. So he's been ghosted for being a weirdo. And it's a weird thing because this feels like exactly the type of movie that like Chris Evans would have been locked into had he not been cast as Captain America. And I say that as someone who loved and respected him before Captain America with such great roles as Not Another Teen Movie and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and hell, even those Fantastic Four movies. But the movie had such a clever and creative way of getting these two back together. He never grabbed his stuff out of her bag and his inhaler has a tracker on it. I get that they set up that he loses things, but his inhaler? But hey, it means he can stalk her and she's in London. Freaked her out so much she fled the country. Good job, man. Honestly, if I scared away the girl that I had an amazing date with because I couldn't stop texting her and realized I'd left my inhaler in her bag, I would simply just allow my airways to constrict my lungs to death. promptly march my way down to the pharmacy and take out a loan to buy a new one, or however it works in America. Obviously, that's not what's gonna happen here, because apparently bad decision-making runs in the family because the mom thinks he should go to London to surprise her and the dad backs it up. She suggests that the international art curator probably doesn't have an international phone plan, so she probably hasn't even seen his texts. Yikes! Enablers. Enablers all around. He's not fixing for romance, he's fixing for a visit from Interpol. And it seems like he lied to her about traveling a lot because he still has a voucher from when he was in college and gave up his seat on spring break. Guys, that is a physical voucher that was so long ago for him.
So it's not like a weird stalker thing, it's just a grand romantic gesture.
Sir, even Ted Mosby would call you a stalker. Then these super ominous buff dudes just descend upon him and knock him out. So things have escalated very quickly from absolutely no action to torture scene. And they seem to think he's an infamous spy known as the Tax Man. So obviously she's gonna be the Tax Man. More like Tax Ma'am. Tax Mommy. Now there are a lot of very noticeable visual effects in this movie, but I was certainly flabbergasted to find out that all of these bugs are fake. Like I get the need for having fake bugs that someone's gonna actively interact with, but like all the bugs in all the cages? No wonder there wasn't a budget for Anna to have a better wig. They used it all on the cast and fake bugs. And I bet just before the torturing starts, she's gonna reveal herself to save his stupid ass. Nailed it, but that was just so obviously what was gonna happen that I don't even know why I bothered commenting on it. So she's pissed for a lot of different reasons. For one, he's been a dumbass that she now has to save, and the other is that they think his dumbass is the tax man.
You're the tax man.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no shit, dude. Oh my god, all this insanity going on and the man grabs his damn luggage. Now, we do always love seeing Anna in action roles. Like, I'm pretty excited to see The Ballerina, which is like the John Wick spin-off, and she does them really well, but like, not like this. Like, maybe not like this. But she lays everyone out, and Cole decides that this is a good time to ask her if she was ever really gonna text him back.
Yes, until you texted me 11 times in 2 days.
Emoji stuff doesn't count.
I do love that Chris Evans just wants to play some of these goofy-ass characters for a bit after literally carrying the burden of being America's ass, but like, you can be goofy in a better movie. Isn't there another action comedy coming out where he's gonna be like a goofy guy, or did I literally just see the trailer to this movie and forget what it was called? Holy shit, yeah, I literally just saw the trailer for this movie and completely forgot. Yeah, it was literally this scene with the bus. I just didn't realize that was Anna. Holy shit. And you know what? I like this scene. It was dumb and fun, and of all the songs they could have gone with, you got like My Sharona, just... it's fun and dumb. And it's not even the more intense scenes that you know aren't 100% practical because they're like a mix of stunt work and VFX that are like the most glaringly obvious and egregious. It's literally just how they look against their environments. Like all these bottom-up shots of Chris's face, like that hair, like the little fuzz around the edges. And I feel like most of this scene was filmed in New Mexico, but I'm getting the impression that like Chris and Anna weren't actually there, so they filmed those back on a set in Atlanta and just like added them in, which is why you're getting all of these like very obvious VFX artifacts. But wow, look at him being a fun little action star like you saw with Superman First, kids. Those farm boys really know how to throw down. Cactus to the face and everything. Oh yeah, he brought her a cactus as a gift as their little inside joke of when he like brutally insulted her. Like, again, could have been cute for a second date, maybe not stalking across the Atlantic. Oh, look, he's in mommy's lap. How precious. Again, just really not the mommy vibes I feel like we're going for.
Go! Are you comfortable?
Sorry.
When he's pissed that she didn't tell him that she's a CIA agent spy, even though he lied and fibbed about most of his. Says he travels all the time, but he's never even left the country.
It's not true. He was conceived in Ontario.
But for some reason, he thinks the story he told about a coworker dying was a lie when she's a spy? Yeah, Cole, bit of a dangerous profession. Let's just quickly scroll over the last 15 minutes of the movie. Look at all that near death.
And she really died?
I may have killed her.
Okay, you can be a little upset about that part, I suppose, but like for different reasons.
And now they think you're me. So they're looking for you. Taxman.
Did they just march a fake camel by? Yeah, don't worry guys, this definitely is in New Mexico. We have a camel. Also, wouldn't she have noticed that there was a tracking device on her in that inhaler? Like, she's a spy. This is literally the thing that they're trained to keep track of and notice, and this was a retail tracker. But anyway, the man behind the kidnapping is Adrien Brody with the shit French accent. Oh no. Instead of just coming to the logical conclusion that they actually caught a tourist civilian when they didn't find him in any intelligence database, they just assumed that the CIA has him off book. I love it. So while Sadie's trying to figure out the next move, they run into one of her exes who seems to be trying to do the Forgetting Sarah Marshall era Russell Brand impression, but he gets shot in the head pretty fast.
Nothing happens here than that I don't see coming a mile away.
Why in the God's name of hell is Anthony Mackie here? Honestly though, did Disney and Marvel just like owe Apple a solid or something? And wait, he just got laid out by Jonathan Cho, who seems to still be sporting his Spike Spiegel hair. Oh no, is this just gonna turn into back-to-back Hitman cameos killing one another? Yep, there's Sebastian fucking Stan. What is going on? And there he is getting hit by a truck, and apparently Anthony isn't dead. Well, I'm sure he got shot not long after this. It is kind of funny that they keep dying the second they say their names and how skilled they are, but it's also like kind of distracting for these like faces just be popping in every 3 seconds. Like, it is funny when movies bait you with big name actors and then just kill them super fast. Like, these same writers literally already did that with Deadpool 2, but I have a bit of whiplash right now. And she really is kind of a bad spy though. Like, I realize it's been pretty hectic and he keeps trying to talk to her about their non-existent relationship, but she really didn't ask enough questions to be getting mad at him for not mentioning things the torturers asked him.
I'm a farmer. Why didn't you just ask me what the torturer was torturing me about?
Either way, the passcode that they were trying to get from him is apparently what Sadie killed that rival spy for, and unlocks a devastating weapon known as Aztec, and Adrien shelled out a bunch of cash to acquire it so that he could sell it to a bigger bidder, but he can only do that if they manage to open the case. Also, his name is Levesque. Okay. So they assume that the spy that killed Elena has the code, so the taxman, but she apparently destroyed it just as she was being killed, I guess. So because they think that Cole is the taxman and has the code and there's a bounty out for him, Sadie's just gonna use him as bait to then steal the weapon and keep it out of enemy hands. Bingo, bango, bongo. No idea why she hasn't contacted the CIA for backup, assistance, or anything at this point, but Levesque here, for whatever reason, I just cannot focus on a single thing he says. It's like my brain just fizzles out every time he speaks and I retain none of it. I think it's the fake accent, but they also just gave him a lot of bad dialogue. Either way, he sticks him on a plane and they start going through Cole's bag, and I really thought this is where they'd realize that he wasn't the taxman and he was just a regular dude, but they'd now just think that this is an elaborate scheme he's concocted because of the sleeper selfie. What a weird little dumbass.
Can't believe you took a picture of me while I was sleeping!
Not of you, of us!
I know you were a creep!
Guys, at this point, you have got to realize that he is not the world-famous super spy who's thwarted you at every turn. But thanks to these handy little electroshockers, courtesy of my favorite cannibal, Sebastian Stan, the taxman prevails. Ooh, good song choice. The Jet Are You Gonna Be My Girl Needle Drop feels more like a car chase song, but sure, a plane fight. And the usage of it here, artistic. They used the window in between that last guitar strum to stab her.
I said, are you?
Art. Cinema. Don't worry, she's fine-ish. Like a fun little shenanigans fight here where again he is just holding his own way too well against international criminal muscle men.
What are you doing? I have no idea.
But wait, they didn't even try to fake the parachuting? Why would you include a parachute scene with the main characters if you're not even gonna show them parachuting and just cut to them on a beach? Putting that farm charm to use though with that tent. So they have some heart-to-hearts. He uses his family as an excuse not to pursue his dreams, and she pushed away attachment after her mom died and pursued a career that made ever working on that nearly impossible. Oh my god, she's gonna get him out of his bubble and he's gonna make her more open to love. But paradise ends, they've been caught. All good though, because the US Marines just instantly show up to save the day. But of course, the baddies took the Aztec because she didn't grab it, and we're just like right back to square one, aren't we? So that made me feel very tired, and like the last big chunk didn't matter, or that the chunk forward didn't matter. But they're back on US soil where she does get in trouble because they think she might be compromised and making bad choices because Cole could have been a counter-operative.
6-foot honeypot? Sent a kiss and nibbled the secrets right out of you?
Okay! And she's in shit for prioritizing his life over Aztec, which she says was a mistake. Like, ouchie, she's gonna break the man's heart. But while dude is grilling Cole to give up Sadie's lives because they genuinely think she might have orchestrated this for money, even though Aztec is just like right back where it started and she had actually done something in between, he notices something about this plant in Elena's apartment. You know, the same plant that inspired Sadie to go out and track one down, which led her to Cole in the first place. It's all connected. Can't wait for his tracked inhaler to save the day.
Oh my god.
The way he says, oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
But But he shares that this plant was something commonly used by Aztec society, so the DNA sequence passcode they need is the genetic sequence of this plant. But Sadie wants to send Levesque a fourth of the code to bait him out by thinking that the taxman went rogue, forcing him to bring Aztec in public so they get another chance to take it. Meaning that the CIA is gonna launch a civilian into danger on a mission he probably can't handle, but he feels like he has to do it because if they don't stop Levesque, he and his family will never be safe. But Levesque obviously still pegs this as a trap, kills the CIA agents who apparently had no safety measures in place on their surveillance van. So Cole's on his own, and just when it's starting to look dicey, Sadie shows up with a master plan. She gives them the rest of the passcode so she can get the $10 million payment, which she had preemptively used to offer up a massive bounty on Levesque. Now, instead of the buyer just like instantly grabbing his Eastern Seaboard destroying weapon and dipping while these guys are having their little bounty chat, no one even makes a move on it, so Sadie's just able to grab it as a shootout starts. The logistics, man, I can't. And just when you think there couldn't possibly be any more cameos, fucking Ryan Reynolds.
Getting this thing blown off? That was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm a good, solid, active listener now.
Of course he's here to make a dick joke. I bet he got paid a new car's worth just for that. So this is just a big spinning gunfight and a recreation of Seattle's Space Needle, so they basically get to turn this into a gravitron. It starts bopping back and forth a bunch, but Sadie manages to get it at the very last second before it literally almost fell to blow up the West Coast, and cuts back to them with Cole's family. Yes, I just blew by that entire action sequence because it was getting a bit, like, what do I say? The Cole threw this guy into the gears and for some reason it made the thing spin faster. Anyway, we're back to Hallmark where they have to keep up her art curator lie, obviously.
Art curating is so much more exciting than I imagined.
Oh, God, like I want to be you. I mean, except the part where you're sleeping with my brother.
Yeah, man, I think we all inferred that. I don't think you needed to say that you don't want to fuck your brother. That wasn't even in my mind until you said it, and now it is. Okay. But then it cuts again to 3 months later, and he's all dapper and professorly researching for his book while she's off doing spy shit before their date. And she just leaves this dude in a trunk while they head inside, because why not? Because you make time for the people you care about, even if you're on a mission. And that's it. I thought it might do the thing with the credits where like they're running, but then things are still happening to maybe set up a sequel, keep things interesting. But no, it just keeps panning around the Kennedy Center for some reason. Did they need that for a tax write-off or something? Like, I kept watching to see if anything was coming and if it was gonna do anything different, but no. What the fuck was that? But hey, that's the movie. Thankfully, the audience score on this one is starting to drop. I think it's at like a 60% right now. That means like 60% of the reviews are positive to some degree. But I do genuinely believe that this movie has more working against it than for it, which is unfortunate because I really did like the cringe like stalker energy. I wish they had kept that up a little bit more. I guess maybe I just wanted a different movie then, or maybe I just wanted a different direction, a different plot around the premise. The premise is fun and had a lot of potential. I don't like the execution. But let me know what you guys are thinking down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you find it bland? Because I feel like bland is probably where it's gonna end up. There's like little nuggets that really work, and there's like a really strong like 20-minute stretch. But then I just don't think it manages to keep up the momentum, and again, the pacing is trash. But thank you all so much for watching. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring the video, and thanks as always to my Patreon supporters and YouTube channel members. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a like on the video if you're into that kind of thing. All my social medias are listed down below. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm mostly okay, and we'll catch you all later.